There is no time we don't have one drama or the other to report in our beloved country Nigeria, and when it comes to politics, there is even bigger drama to unfold. Quickly, my name is Shegun, speaking from TepTV, and just as the topic of the video implies, there are issues. Before we continue in this video, if you have not subscribed and you're watching this video at the moment, please, for the love of God, smash the subscribe button to get updates. I would also be expecting our comments at the end of the video. Wait, of course, if you want to like the video, why wouldn't you like the video? Come on, smash the like button, and now let's dive right in. 2023 elections are fast approaching, and we have trimmed down close to 80 presidential aspirants by more than half through the political primaries, basically the party primaries as well. So while some persons have decamped to other parties, others have forfeited their ambitions for a bigger man. You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it. Today, though, we want to talk about the many issues, and top of the list is the whole gist about choosing a vice, or should I call it a running mate. I said in the last video that a vice president is almost as important as the president, especially when it comes to these elections, calculating the votes and stuff like that. While Atiku and the PDP have concluded on a vice president, and let's not forget that they also had some issues themselves, because for example, Wike finished distant second to Atiku in the primaries. He wanted to become the president, and now he was the biggest candidate to be the vice. From the first consensus, he was chosen. At the end of the day, he was not given. There's a difference between when you are chosen and when you are not given. Brother Wike was chosen, but he was not given. Now, I share the same sentiment with Atiku actually. When it comes to not choosing Wike, I share the same sentiment, because you don't want to hear that after Atiku became president, he died 2 months later. Of course, the question we ask ourselves, who killed him? What killed him? We don't know. But the question we need to ask ourselves is, who becomes the new president? The vice president, of course, becomes the new president. And then he will spend 4 years of Atiku's tenure, and possibly 4 plus 4, that's 8 more years of his own tenure, that's 12 years. Something that I've never seen but has happened before. And it happened to a fellow PDP person that was also from a fellow South state. I won't mention him, but you know what I'm talking about. So basically, we understand that the case of Yaradua and, of course, the guy that it happened to, and all about those things that happen. So sentiment aside, it's a very big issue. So Atiku is trying to avoid what happened in history from repeating itself, whereas Tinubu wants to repeat issue that has happened before in history. And what exactly is the history that has happened before? I'll tell you. Just give me small time. In 1993, we possibly had the best election that Nigeria had ever witnessed till date. It was very fair, and we lost a president that we would have had, and it could have possibly been the best president that we have ever had, in person of MKO Abiola. We now celebrate June 12 as Democracy Day. What then is the issue? So what exactly is the issue? The issue is the Muslim ticket. Face it or leave it, and Nigeria is not as literate as many other nations of the world. It is why we concern ourselves with north-south rather than geopolitical zones. We claim to have 6 geopolitical zones, but yet a party cannot choose a president and a running mate from the south. So they don't exactly recognize the 6 geopolitical zones. Rather, what they recognize is north and south protectorate, or whatever we call them. And then, the case of also of origin of a person, we recognize the origin of the person rather than the credibility and the track record of that person. So you discover that the level of literacy in Nigeria is not as big as we think it is, especially when it comes to things around politics. This is also why all our politicians tell us the same thing year in, year out, but we don't see any change in Nigeria. How will politicians be telling us the same thing at the same time, and yet we still make the same mistakes? Believe me, that just as the northern faction says that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu must choose a northerner when he would have chosen Akpabio, who stepped down for him. That's the reality. You say, oh, he must compulsory choose a northerner for him to. He could also choose Akpabio. Akpabio is in another geopolitical zone. Choose Akpabio as his running mate, and then we don't have to talk about Muslim ticket and some other things. But just like they bear the sentiment of, oh no, we can't have south, it's also the way some persons bear the sentiment that we can't have Muslim. Like I mentioned, it's based on the literacy level in Nigeria. Furthermore, when we look carefully at Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan was close to running a Christian ticket when Yaradua died. When Yaradua died, Jonathan was very close to running a Christian ticket. But then there came about a Nnamdi Sambo, who was a former governor of Kaduna State. He had practically not even finished his first term as the former governor of Kaduna State, and he was made the vice president. He was made the running mate of Goodluck Jonathan. So if you're telling me that, for example, Governor Lalong, who is in APC and is in the north, is not a strong enough Christian to be a running mate for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then what of the case of when Jonathan wanted to also run and could have easily ran a Christian ticket, but then they found somebody within the sphere that could manage and could step in and become his vice president? Of course, they could not use Atiku at that time because Atiku had been vice president before, and you don't want him to come and cause issues for the new president. So using Sambo, who had not even finished 4 years in office in the political position and became the vice president, is showing us that there is no excuse with respect to the fact that you cannot use Lalong as the next running mate for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And whether you like it or not, Muslim ticket or Christian ticket gives a reason to lose sympathy from bereaved faction. Gives a reason to lose sympathy from bereaved factions. And as you can see, that Tinubu has already filled up the temporary spots with Alhaji Masari. So of course he said Alhaji Masari for now, but let's still continue looking at it. But at the moment, we know that the issue within APC is the fact that they are currently running the Muslim ticket, and they are still looking for somebody to substitute him, which would likely be also another Muslim ticket. And then we come to the third issue also. Like I said, issues. It's the Kwankwaso and Obi merger. You see, another less national issue is the Kwankwaso and the Obi merger. Obi has a better chance of winning next year than Kwankwaso. That's the truth. Why? Because in a little way, they are trying to divide the political arena into Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. If we divide it based on that faction, you know that Obi stands a better chance, because now when you bring in Kwankwaso, it's called that Kwankwaso has to share the Hausa votes between himself and Atiku. But the reality also is that because we have a large number of states that are covering within the terrain of the northern region, then you can almost say that Kwankwaso too will not completely be cheated. So instead of saying it is divided into 3, you can say it's divided into 4 on equal parts. But like I mentioned earlier, Obi stands a better chance of winning next year's election. However, the reality is that both of them cannot win. Both of them cannot become presidents at the moment. At the moment, based on everything that it is showing, both of them cannot become president because Atiku and Tinubu has the advantage. So the only thing they could be doing for themselves is coming down to this place of a merger. At the moment, Obi has named a temporary person as his running mate, and they are looking forward to getting somebody else who's going to be his permanent running mate come year 2023. However, the reality is that concerning their merger, Kwankwaso wants to become president. Obi wants to become president. Kwankwaso says that Obi should be his running mate. Obi is saying that he would like Kwankwaso to be his running mate. So who exactly is going to give to who? The only thing I just have at the back of my mind that I feel that I'm a bit confident about is that they will not make the same mistake as the Duro Toyes and co in 2019, who were not ready to step down for themselves. And you had how many odd people voting, claiming that they were representing the youth. Are they really representing the youth, or they were representing their pockets? That's another matter for another day. Now the question is when, because there's a strong chance that this merger is going to happen. Kwankwaso and Obi, I really believe that there's a strong chance that this merger is going to happen, because they've been discussing about it for a very long time. There's a strong chance that this merger is going to happen. The question is when, because there are just 30 days ultimatum to replace your temporary running mate with the new running mate that you want to choose. So, and if they don't agree in time, it means that there's a tendency that maybe later on towards the end of the year, before the election, one party decides to cede to the other party. So they say Labour Party maybe cedes to NNPP, or NNPP cedes to Labour Party. And then the problem now is that whoever that cedes to who will end up losing almost everything, especially when it comes to the place of the presidential seat, because by then they can no longer change the running mate. And it means that the other person is just ceding so that the other person can have a better chance of winning and knocking out either APC or PDP. There are plenty issues amongst the top 4 candidates. Like I tell you, they are the top 4 candidates, and I would arrange it in the order of Atiku, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Peter Obi, and Kwankwaso. Those are the top 4 candidates that we have at the moment, and I want to tell you that this thing keeps getting hot. Please go and get your PVC if you have not had. Myself, I dey queue, and vote for the person of your choice. Your vote really counts. Also, we'll be dropping updates, we'll be dropping content and updates around the political landscape in Nigeria, and make sure that you subscribe so as to get notified. Our giveaway continues in the celebration of June 12th. Of course, we mentioned MP Abiola. In the celebration of June 12th, Bring 12 subscribers to TepTV and get 2,000 naira. The first 10 people to bring their own 12 subscribers walks away with our 2,000 naira each. Like I said, the first 10 persons walks away with 2,000 naira each. Country hard. No talk, say I no tell you. Bye for now.